Welcome to your Saturday Pick a Card reading. Your Saturday Pick a Card reading today reveals your future path. So please take a moment and tune into one of the groups on the table. Group 1 is the Rose Quartz. Group 2, Lapis Lazuli. And Group 3 is Green Quartz. Now, if you like this style of reading, I have lots more of these over on my Cosmic Truth channel. Links will be in the description below. So for your future path, today I'll be using my Forecaster Oracle, as well as the Immortal Cycle for today's reading. Links will also be in the description for where you can get those decks from. So let's tune in and see which group resonates with you most today. This is a group reading, not a one-on-one, so take what resonates and leave what does not. So that's Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3. I'll be back with your reading. Group 1. Okay, coming in from the Forecaster Oracle, first of all, the first card that we have is, hey, course correction. We're doing a strategic pivot coming up for you in the future. So your future path involves you just slightly changing the way you're doing things. Maybe you're doing a course correction. Maybe you're going one step backwards to take two steps forward. Maybe it's about taking a different path. You can see the two crossed pawn pieces or chess pieces in her hand. She is thinking about switching her paths just slightly. Now, it could be that you're taking a whole new different direction, or it could just be that you're taking a slight course correction. But either way, your future path reveals that it's a little bit different to the path that you're currently on now. So by a little small correction, or by just a big change here. But a strategic pivot means that you're thinking about the situation carefully, putting in a lot of thought into the action or direction that you're taking this new venture, new relationship, or the current course that you're on, just changing course just slightly for a better outcome. Now we have a Justice summoned. Accountability. This is weighing things up too. So where it's showing me strategic, really thinking about the situation, it's showing me that you're weighing up the situation in full. You're thinking about, okay, what does this outcome, how does this outcome feel? What's the pros and cons of going this direction? What's the pros and cons of course correcting or slight changes to take it in this direction? It is saying overall, hope and faith. Keep the faith. Keep hope in your heart. This is positive energy. It's all about trusting in the guidance, alignment to the flow of the universe. Help that guide your way as well. So not only is it about thinking, there's a lot of strategy and thinking here involved, but there's also a lot of faith here as well. Having faith that you'll be guided in the right direction. So pay attention to those signs as well. We can see a bird flying in, and that's the bird's the messenger of the spirit world. So it's saying pay attention to messages or little signs or symbols indicating that you maybe need to change course in going a little bit different direction. Now, what that could mean is that you could run into somebody and they could start talking about somebody they know has just gone into AI, for instance, and they're doing really well with it. So, and then that might make you think, okay, how can that improve my business? How can that improve my education or my knowledge? Tapping into changing things slightly based on going with the flow and what you're hearing, or what little signs or symbols are coming up for you. It could be something you see another person doing or see on TV. It's something that you see. It's like a sign or a symbol that comes in and says, okay, this is a little spark of intrigue for you. Well, how would this go if I implemented it into my life? Change my path just slightly to broaden it in some way, or strategically pivot to be more successful based on a slight little change. So you're weighing something up here. Justice summoned. Accountability could mean that you're hoping for somebody to be held accountable. Maybe you'll need to be accountable for your own actions, in that the choices that you make cause an end result. So cause and effect. The things that you do now affect the final outcome. So it's weighing things up and really thinking about things before you rush in, because it will affect the entire course. This slight little change that you make could broadly change the course of your direction or the outcome of this situation. So really being cautious, but really thinking, putting strategy into every little decision that you make, every little change that you make, because a slight change can have a really big outcome, a really big change to the final outcome. For the better, we have positive cards on there, but a bit of thought's going to be required here as well. Now I'm placing in your yes and no cards at the top here, because I always forget to put group one's yes and no cards in at the top. As we are doing this reading and you have a question, you're thinking about the reading, be guided to one of those cards on the table for your answer, because I'm going to reveal those at the end. Okay, this is bringing a little bit more clarity. So we have the immortal cycle coming in to bring clarity to your message. The bottom message is showing your path, your future direction. And that is one of strategic planning, strategic thinking to make a slight change in your direction or in whatever it is you're doing. Now, the immortal cycle is coming in to say why you need to do this, what's going on with the current energy flow that's causing you to have to pivot just a little bit. Well, maybe you've been getting blocks. Maybe that is the signs and symbols and synchronicities coming in from the universe, is because you feel like you keep hitting roadblocks in whatever it is you're doing, the way you're doing them. And that's because Spirit is saying course correction here. They want you to go around the obstacle instead of trying to move the obstacle. So it's a little course correction coming in from your spirit team to say, okay, we want you to change direction just a little bit here. So maybe they're blocking your path because the way you were doing it is no longer viable or going to work in that way. There's got to be changes here. There's got to be slight little changes in the way that you do things to prevent those blocks, future blocks, or those blocks that are happening now. Now, emotionally over giving can result in depletion. So it's depleted energy because of how hard you've been trying to push these blocks out of the way. So what it's showing is that blocks have been preventing you from moving forward, and you just keep doing the same thing over and over again, hoping, investing all of your energy into it, hoping that it's finally going to have an outcome. But they're saying the outcome will come when you pay attention to understand that these little blocks, these little hurdles are just course correction hurdles to say, okay, change it just a little bit because you'll have a better outcome. And there's a saying that says, do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always get. So if you don't like what you've been getting, or if all you're getting is blocks or hurdles, then you need to do it just a little bit differently. And otherwise you're just wasting your energy. You're depleting your energy because you just keep putting wasted energy into doing it over and over again and coming up with the same results or coming up with the same blocks or hurdles. You are releasing. There's some things you need to release. It says some things end so you can be set free. So this energy is about how the relief it feels when you no longer have to invest that overgiving energy, depleting yourself because you keep trying the situation and it's not working. So do it a different way. Let some things go. That could be the course correction or the strategic thinking or the weighing up. What is it that I need to let go of in my life in order for me to start moving forward on my path? So Spirit wants you to pay attention to that. That is your Saturday message. That's your homework for the weekend. Think about what you need to release, what you need to think about in course correction in order to move through these blocks and hurdles without having to put in so much effort and energy. Let's take a look at your yes and no's. If this is a card you've been looking at, it says no. It says that's not going to happen that way. So maybe you need to think about that situation just a little bit more. This card here says yes, because you won't say no. That could also result in depletion or overgiving because you don't say no. Maybe that's a little message for you. Maybe you need to learn to say no to certain things and release some things because you've said yes to so many things that you've got too many things on your plate. This here is yes, you were born ready. So you're ready for this. You're ready for this new path. You're ready for this little course correction or this change in some way. Over the hurdles, over the depletion, and you're ready to start moving forward. So that is a big yes. Thank you so much for joining me, Group 1. I hope that this resonated with you. Please drop me a comment. Let me know if this is you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you again soon. Welcome back, Group 2, to your Saturday Pick a Card reading. This is revealing your future path. So we're first of all, from the Forecaster Oracle, we're looking at your future path with this card. Now, the first card on the table here is defensive mobilization. It's about movement. It's about a tactical response. It's about moving forward or taking action in a way that's tactical. So you have to think about your response here. You have to think about your moves going forward. For some, it could mean military. It could be somebody around you in the military. But the general energies of this, for a personal reading, this is that you have to have a tactical response. That means you have action. You have to get your ducks in a row. You have to make a move. You have to do something. And you have to, it could even be defensive in preparation. So you're not caught off guard. Be ready for whatever possibilities there are. And that is what defensive mobilization means, being ready for anything. So being prepared, being organized, being ready, tactically ready. That means mentally thinking and being tactical about the situation, putting ducks in a row, getting things sorted, getting things organizing. But most of all, it is about action. It's about making your plan of attack here, getting ready for anything. Now, the next card here, we've got surveillance, state monitoring. So here, maybe you've been kicking back, just monitoring the situation. Maybe you've been looking at something or thinking about something, just waiting to see how something plays out before you take action. But the cards are saying prepare in advance, be prepared and ready. So don't just sit back and just see how this plays out. It says start to put some plans in action now. Whatever that is, this is group reading, not one-on-one, which means it will resonate in different ways, or you'll play this out in your life in a different way. But the energy of the cards is saying that they want you to be prepared and ready. Don't just sit back and monitor the situation and think, oh, everything's going to be okay. I'll wait and see how this plays out before I take action. No, they want you to be ready. They want you to start thinking about how you can be ready for any possibility or any situation now. Now we have a roll exit, which means a door closing. It means something's coming to an end, or that you're thinking about closing one door in order to open another door. So it could be your role's ending, could be work, but your role could be ending. So you're not going to sit and wait and play this out. Now, let me give you an example of this. Doesn't mean this is the example. It just gives you a bit of an idea of what all these three cards mean together. So workplace making cuts, and you don't know if you're going to be one of the ones that's going to be cut. So instead of sitting around just monitoring, waiting for the situation to be your turn, start making plans now. Be prepared for any outcome or any situation, because there could possibly be an end to your role, but you want to be prepared for that. You don't just want to sit around and wait for the last moment. That is an example of how these three cards read together. You just need to put it into your life and what's going on in your path right at the moment, and be prepared for anything. Don't just sit around and wait for it to happen before you take action. You need to take action right now. Coming in from the Immortal Cycle Oracle, this gives us a little bit more understanding. I just laugh because I see patience sit on top of the card, where you're sitting back and having patience and just waiting for your turn, waiting for the situation. And then we have ending sitting on closing doors. So this is validation. It's coming through the same message over and over again. So let's see. Now, kindness. And I've got to say too, number 2, the card that you've picked is dream big. You need to think bigger, go bigger. Pay attention to your dreams. You could be having really vivid dreams. You could be getting clues in your dreams. So pay attention to your dreams, but also you need to dream big. It says you need to really think what you want and then go after something bigger. So think bigger, dream bigger is what they're saying. Now we've got the kindness card here. It's generosity in hard times. So being generous and kind. Now, having a tactical response, taking action, but having kindness where you can show kindness, because the situation around could be difficult for other people. So you need to be generous and kind where you can be. Now, maybe it's saying that somebody else is going to extend a hand of generosity to you, or extend some kind of kindness towards you. And maybe there's an opportunity coming because these endings are happening. Maybe somebody's stepping in with an action plan that seems really kind and generous. There's no cards here that says, watch your back or anything like that. It's saying that there's maybe an offer that's coming in that's a generous offer. So it's being prepared for any outcome. So the outcome doesn't have to be bad. Maybe you're in this situation, maybe you're taking action by taking another job that means a better outcome for you, a more generous pay or generous working conditions. This option comes up because in the future there's going to be closing doors. Now, you may not know that at the moment, but if there's an opportunity that's presented to you that seems to be generous and kind, maybe you need to really think about it and consider taking this option, because don't sit back and wait to see what happens with your current role or your current path. If you get an offer in the meantime, you may really need to sit down and consider that offer, because it's showing take action on that offer of generosity. Patience sitting on top of monitoring is just saying that it's either been happening for a long time, or you're just been sitting back waiting for this to happen for a long time. Maybe it's taking its time to happen, but overall the last two cards are indicating endings, changes to your current path. There's some changes coming. There's some things you're releasing and letting go, because there's new things coming for you, bigger things coming for you, because you've got the dream big. Let's take a look at your yes and no cards. These are the cards if you have a question about what we've just talked about. Guide yourself to one of these cards, one, 2, or 3. And let's see what they are. We're starting with this one here. This one here says yes. The answer to your question is yes. The answer was always yes. The next card here is the card of yes. We've got another yes. Your question you're thinking about, why not dance with destiny? To me, that sounds like taking opportunities that are presented to you. Now, this card here is the last one. If this is the one you're looking at, it says no, maybe a little bit different. So it's going to be a little bit different than what you're thinking, the situation, the answer to that question. Thank you so much for joining me, Group 2. I hope that this brings you some kind of clarity. Please do let me know if this is you. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and I will see you again on the next reading. If you like this style of reading, I've got lots more of these over on my Cosmic Truth channel. Welcome back, Group 3. Group 3, you've selected the card of stop wasting. So this is stop wasting your time, money, or energy. So it's asking you to pay attention to where your energy is going, to where your money is going, or to where your time is going. So stop wasting the energy there. Now, you've also selected the green quartz here as well. Can indicate a bit of heart work. That's your green chakra, or a bit of healing, because it's a very healing, nurturing color there. Now, we're coming in from the forecast oracle first of all to take a look at the changes, or it doesn't have to be changes, it shows your future direction, so the path and clarity around your future path. So let's take a look at that. We're using the forecaster because the forecaster forecasts what's ahead for you, and we're doing it in a very personal way. This card, the links for this deck is in the description below. Now you'll see 3 cards sitting above. As we're going through this reading, if there's any questions that do arise for you, find yourself guided to one of these 3 cards, and I'll reveal those at the end. Let's get into the reading now, Group 3. Foundation, infrastructure, long-term vision. So we're thinking about your path that you're on, any changes to your upcoming path, but we're thinking about the long-term direction for this path. What do I want in the future? This is what you're thinking. You've got to sit down and work out your goals, work out stepping stones, because we're developing them now, because it's sitting next to in motion, developing now, but we're thinking about the long-term vision here. So you need either a vision board, or you need to sit down with a goal book and say, okay, this is my overall goal for the next 12 months or the next 5 years. And then you need to sit down and break it down into smaller steps, because you've got to start working on it right now, is what they're saying. Developing now. So this future path that's coming for you is developing right now. Every step that you take, this little stepping stone, leads you to this long-term vision of whatever this is, this goal that you're thinking about. Now, it says stop wasting time, money, or energy. So maybe by just being frugal, or just not putting your full direction attention into whatever this path is, it's like you're wasting energy. You're wasting energy trying this little bit over here, or that bit over there. Instead, why don't you put all your energy or resources into one firm direction? And how that happens is by sitting down and thinking, okay, what is my vision for where I'm going to be in 12 months, or my vision for 5 years, and making a plan of action for that, breaking it down into little goals and starting those little steps. Now, You're not wasting energy, time, or money because you're following a direction. You're following a path, you're following a plan. And that means you're no longer wasting time trying this or that if it doesn't suit that end game. So that's what it's saying. Think about the future. Think about where you want to be. If it's a house you're purchasing and you're needing to save the money, set those goals, work out, what you need to save, and stop wasting money. If you've got a goal in front of you of how much I want to save this month, this is an example, group reading, not one-on-one, which means things resonate in different ways. But this example shows you how the cards read together. So if it is the example of wanting to purchase something in the future that you're setting your budget on, you want to have a certain amount that you're saving each month, and that's a small stepping stone each month to get you to where you're going to be long term. That's what that means, these two cards together. You need to start working on it right now. Stop wasting time, money, or energy on not having a plan or a goal in process. The other card on the end there is fertility equation. How does children come into the mix here? How does fertility come into the mix here? Now, it could be new projects. Babies can also mean new beginnings. It could be new paths, but it could also mean something to do with having to factor in the baby or the child or the children within this equation, that your path stepping forward. Maybe your goals moving forward are about children or having children. So that could be one of your paths. Maybe it's related to your children in some way, but either way, you have to factor in that into the equation. Or it could just be a whole new beginning, because babies also mean new beginnings. So let's move on to the immortal cycle. The immortal cycle is going to give us a bit more energy or meaning to the bottom card. Shows what's coming up in the future and your steps you'll need to take. The immortal cycle will show us what's going on around you right now that's needed or required in order for you to be able to get to those goals or achieve those goals. Now, the first card we've got is healing. We're needing a little bit of healing. Now, whether that means physical healing or whether that means healing to your finances, healing to your way of thinking, there's some kind of healing that's going to be required at a foundational level. And what that means is healing the foundation. So building tower in the tarot falls because it's not built on strong foundations. What they're asking you to do right now is heal your foundations. Make sure you're building good, firm foundations. And how you do that? You make a plan. You make a vision board. You make a good plan from the very beginning and make sure you're doing things right from the beginning. Healing anything that is not good or good enough, or healing anything that requires work or recovery or to fix the current foundations that you have. Maybe you are doing some renovation work and you're fixing or healing foundations around your home, or making changes to your actual structure that you're living in and healing the house you live in. That could be for somebody, because that is that's one way to read these two cards together. The other is healing the foundations that you've already prepared and just making sure they're good, solid foundations that's going to carry this path forward into the future in a very strong way, because this is a long-term vision. So it needs good, strong, firm foundations. So keep that in mind. Now we have the reoccurrence, developing now, repeating patterns. This means doing something over and over again. Stepping stones are a bit like that. So if coming back to the analogy around saving up for something and having a budget, a goal, you want a certain amount that you're budgeting every month, well, then that's the same month over and over again, that same budget over and over again. It's a small stepping stone, repeating the process until you get to that end result. So that's how you get an end result, is by keeping up with it, keep doing it. Now it's like setting intentions, setting resolutions. You'll only achieve those resolutions if you keep repeating and stepping stones and keep making changes, or keep stepping each stone one after another repeatedly. Not that you'll do 2 months and then nothing. You won't get to your goal on time that way. It's saying you have to repeat it. Winning formula: make the plan, make the steps, and to have that winning formula of repetition. Keep doing, because that's how you're going to have that long-term vision of success. Now, the last card is surrender, and the surrender card says go with the flow a little bit more. Surrender happens when resistance yields. So the budges, like the blocks or hurdles that's in your way, that's resistance, or resistance against trying new things or trying a new way of doing things. Once you surrender to this new process, it becomes very easy. It becomes, you can see it working. So give it a try, because it's going to help the situation. Whichever way that you do this is going to be helpful for you, but you just have to surrender to the flow, surrender to the process, because the process actually works. I don't know exactly what the process is. I just know that it involves small stepping stones, setting future goals and breaking it down and starting it right now and repeating it, doing it over and over again, surrendering to that process, because that's what's going to work for you. Now, the cards at the top, if you looked at this one here, it says no. The question is a little bit confusing, the way you asked it. So let's see if we can get a bit more validation out of one of the other ones. Next one says no, try again after coffee. And what that means is that right now, the way you're doing things, it's a no. You need to try again after you've been doing this process for a few months. So, and it's all about manifestation. But physical manifestation, you write your goals down, write them down in pen, break your overall goal, then write it down in pen, and what are the stepping stones, and that's your course of action. So it's not just manifesting, universe, I want this, my heart's out there, this is my desire, this is my visualization. It's more than that. It has to be physical stepping stones that you are taking action on repeatedly. There's work to be done here for this to happen. The last question says no. It's a no, whatever the question is around that. No, because you've got to change your vibration a little bit. You've got to adjust your vibration to attract what your opportunities towards you. So there's a little bit of work to be done there in that situation. Thank you for joining me for this quick little Saturday pick a card reading. Hope it brings you the messages that you need. Please let me know in the comments if this is you, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much for joining me.